This is the weekly Grifball Hubcast, only on GrifballHub.com.
Do your thing.
You sounded like you wanted to do that intro there.
I almost thought I did and then realized I wasn't prepared.
It's like,
good morning.
Hey.
This is twitch.tv/GrifballHub. It is the weekly Grifball Sunday Hubcast, episode number 310. This is the new appearance of it because our leaders extraordinaire have had a baby, and we are now left in charge, and it's like leaving the ADHD 8th graders to run an entire production facility, and it's super fun. Squirrel! Yay. I have coffee, and I'm joined by none other than other coffee drinkers. It's Sonic Chaos and Oogy! Okay, we have one. You know what? I'm drinking coffee, and you all can just
Also,
suck it.
I don't live on the West Coast, so it's not late for me. Early, I should say. Not late.
Yeah.
That's not what that word means.
It's now normal for a Sunday. It's 11 a.m. Over here, where people are normal. There we go.
You guys just stopped having different time zones.
We thought about that, except for the East Coast just got weird about it. We're on the East Coast. We don't really care. We're totally appreciative of that, and that's fun, but West Coast is the best coast. We're closer to Australia, and Australia's a lot more fun in the middle of the Atlantic. It's warm. Logic.
Yeah.
It's a train. So we got lots of things to cover. Not a whole lot of things. We have a few things to cover today, including
Playoffs.
We've got playoffs coming up for AGLA, and
Don't talk about playoffs.
We're going to talk about playoffs. We're going to talk about the All-Star game coming up tomorrow, as well as the adventure that Rage and I are going to be going on here in a few weeks, and then a month from then, which we'll talk about here at the end of the show. But first, let's talk about the hub and what's happening here in the world of Grifball.
I'm just gonna get right to this. If you play in the AGLA or want to play in the AGLA, don't cheat.
Yeah, that's kind of one of those things that I think would go without saying. Like, I understand that sometimes it's funny to do things, but when you think it's funny to actually just break a blatant rule outright, come on. Use common sense. That's just dumb.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
dumb.
There's a level of sportsmanship that is required when it comes to responsibility, and I understand this is a game, but at the same time, this is also a competitive league. We're a competitive league that likes to do this because of the fact that we enjoy the competition, we enjoy the elevated level of gameplay, and we enjoy the camaraderie that goes with the respect for what we do in the leagues and how we play the game. So if you're going to blatantly disrespect everybody else who's around you and screw your team up by getting yourself banned, I'm sorry. Can you please use common sense? That's just kind of a rule. And I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. I'm just saying, in the future, when you're making those important decisions like, do I do this or not, consider, would this possibly get me banned? Is it possibly against the rules? If it's written in English or any other language which you are viewing your webpage at in the rules and regs section of the Grifball Hub, chances are it's a punishable offense. It's there for a reason, to help establish the sanctity and establish the legitimacy of what we do. So please try and not throw it under the bus, because most likely you will follow it.
I don't know what that phrase was trying to accomplish there.
I don't know either. But this is first cup, okay? Stop making fun of me. It's not my fault. Those be a douchebag. That's all we're saying. Come on.
No, it's silly, and I don't even see the point of it. Like, okay, you just want to play an Emmy and wreck kids. What's the point? If you're good enough that you need an alt account to get into Emmy and actually try to just crush people who are not as good as you, like, actually winning anything in Emmy isn't going to mean anything to you. Not that winning an Emmy shit means much, anyways.
Hey,
let's be honest.
Yeah. Hey, I have one of those, and I busted my butt getting one of those. So don't you start.
I mean, I'm comparing this to just kind of the old days when there was actually a lot of competition throughout both Pro and Emmy. Now it's sort of, especially with the bid league with Emmy, you've got a lot of players that nobody knows, and it's much more about like what new players end up panning out, or like even the ones that are really skilled at the beginning of the season, sometimes if things don't start to go their way, they'll kind of get turned off and leave. We always see that with some new players here and there because they have certain expectations of how they think leagues are going to go, and then it doesn't go the way they think it does, and whatnot. So there's a lot more volatility in AMI when it comes to building teams, and we saw this when I was doing stats research, trying to do an article at the beginning of the season that didn't end up happening because RTX was a bunch of craziness. But as far as like stats goes, like I've talked about this before, but there's very clear lines as to the highest win-loss record you were able to get with a team built with a certain number of credits, while in AMI it was just all over the place. There was like no correlation whatsoever in AMI as compared to Pro, where there were very clear trend lines. So that's just kind of the nature of the beast in AMI with Bid League. It's very hard to predict how talent ends up shaping out, just with all the new unproven talent.
Not just that.
Yeah, there we go. Rage with the
Liam
Neeson quote there in chat.
You
have a very particular set of skills, and they will catch you and they will ban you.
And then you win an AMI shit that's with an alt account. What's that going to matter with your actual account?
Like you don't even get the recognition for it.
Exactly.
But the thing I always found funny too was when the two puppies did it at the beginning of the season. One of them ended up making AMI, so it's just like, okay, you thought you were good enough to make pro, so you can have an alt account playing in AMI. Now look who looks like a fool. I kind of wish that both of those ended up on the same team.
Well, and here's the thing that kills me is the fact that it's not just you that you're affecting when you do things like this, when you make these type of decisions. There are now an entire team of people that are missing a crucial key element to the strategy that was in the design that the captain planned out in the first place.
I mean, I would say for their main accounts, yes. For the alt accounts, not really, because it's just kind of a new, unproven account. You didn't really know how they were going to shape out anyway.
But the player is in its whole.
You do
in their
lose
whole
a roster spot, basically.
And therefore, you've just kind of left your team hanging because you thought you'd be funny and you need to learn what's funny, and no, it's not. Anyways, point being, we've got rules. Rules are not made to be broken. Rules are made to be followed because there's a reason for them so that we can all have the joy of what it is that we call GrifballHub, because we are literally a great community of players. That's what we like to do. I'm really good at dying. I have definitely proven this season that I am not pro quality. I am AMI quality. That is where I should stay.
That's okay.
But I'm okay with that. And I think that's awesome. Because at least there I'm in an actual talent pool that is legitimately difficult for me. I walk into a pro game and I just get slaughtered.
Wait, so the AMI pool is difficult for you, but not pro?
No. I get slaughtered in the pro games. Because when the pro kids go and try hard, holy God, it's insanity. And I can sometimes maybe hold my own, maybe. But as a general rule of thumb, not usually. Which is great because I love practicing with them. It makes my game better. But when it comes to actually having a strategy where you're going to be getting players that are going to be beneficial to the team, I probably will never end up getting picked up a pro again. And I'm okay with that. Because, good Lord. Every once in a while, it's nice to actually go positive in a game.
I'm positive in this game. It surprises me. Overall, my KD is positive. This is the first game where that's happened since we went back to Halo 3. If you count my old Halo 3 days, then I'm definitely negative because laggy sort of connection.
Yeah.
There you go, Ray. Yeah, that's Bacon's new tag, Big Daddy.
Yeah. So, speaking of things that are going as we roll into the playoff season, let's talk a little bit about format and how that's going to work because, of course, playoffs are different than standard season. In our playoff games, they are best of threes. They are broadcast all on the Hub.
Yes.
And we will be covering all of those playoff games, the first of which will be coming up this Wednesday. And it is going to be the first game, which is Vital Signs versus
Impulse.
Empanadas. That's what I said, Impulse.
Rain versus Tonga. Yep. And then the second game is Thursday, the day after. It was supposed to be Tuesday, but supposedly it's been rescheduled. At least that's what Pimp tells me. And that is his team, Next Dimension, taking on number 4 Hybrid Theory, which is Gingy and Easy 08, I believe. Is Gingy on that team? Yes, he is. Mm-hmm. I can't remember which one of them is the captain now. It's Gingy still, isn't it?
It's easy.
Okay. I know it used to be Gingy back in when we were doing Halo 3 League, so...
Nope, it is easy now because I made that mistake.
They're co-captains.
Me.
Nice.
So
is that legal?
Yeah. I don't know. Who knows? But that is going to be happening on Wednesday. I don't know if we're going to be having a pregame show or not. We used to do it for playoffs, but if we do, I have not heard about it yet. So we'll be announcing that a little bit later on. But before then, we've got and let's finish the playoffs. Playoffs for pro starts this week.
Mm-hmm.
With the actual final championships being next Wednesday.
The championships are the 31st. Yes.
Yes. And then AMI playoffs start when?
That we have one more week of regular season this week, and then playoffs, I believe, start next week.
Okay. Which means you guys are going to be covering those playoffs because Rage and I will be up at...
Okay, I'm sorry. It's Next Dimension Hybrid Theory was the game on Wednesday. Impulse Battle Science was the one that was moved to Thursday. Hang on. Did Pimp lie to me? Okay, no, I'm just dumb. Yeah, so is Impulse Battle Science on Thursday, and then Next Dimension Hybrid Theory will actually kick things off on Wednesday.
Gotcha. Okay. Sounds like a good plan. So, and as anybody who's been through a playoff series knows, because of the fact that it's a best of three, oftentimes these games, because these teams are so extraordinarily matched, are usually not a slam dunk. In fact, it's usually quite the opposite. We've been in playoff and champion. We've seen playoff games last anywhere from 2.5 hours or longer, depending on how great. Yep, and it's usually kind of nuts.
Don't remind me
so
of that.
Make sure you tune in. It's going to be lots of fun.
I'm surprised Monday, I have a voice now after that game. Way to fail 4 guys, 1 ball. That was dumb. Passing in Halo 4 was dumb.
I love passing in Halo 4.
It's not fun when a team can just pass it back and forth for a 2-hour game.
Well, you got to learn to kill them with the hammer. Just saying.
I mean,
all right, so
Monday, with the hammer, they can still throw it back all the way across the court.
True. On Monday, we've got the All-Star Game, which is going to be happening. We've got a pregame show starting at 5, where we're going to be talking to some people, and that's going to be produced by the people here at the Hub. And then at 6 o'clock, we've got the All-Star Game, which is actually going to be produced by one of our new little partners, and that is Kenny the Spartacat, the other half of my creative team that I was at PBL with, and we both exited that stage left. And Kenny has revamped the appearance and some of the looks and is going to be showing off some of the new features of Game Show, which we have now partnered with as well, and to take a look at how it's going to change the way that we do things with regards to broadcast. Some new features, new fun stuff, and all sorts of new graphics. So make sure you tune in. Pre-game show, 5 o'clock on Monday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 8 Eastern. And then 6 Pacific, 9 Eastern for the actual All-Star games. Now, let's talk about formatics for that. How are these games? How's the game? What are we looking at for format? Because I've talked with Tonga a little bit about it, and there were some ideas that were thrown around. I know there's going to be a best of 3 to start out. Is it going to be 1 sprint, 1 non-sprint?
This is that why would we do no sprint if every single game in this league has been sprint?
That's what we're asking. But so I'm assuming we're just going to do the best of 3 to start out with, and then we're going to do some variations and see how many people get weird.
No, it's traditionally, I'm trying to remember when we were doing All Stars back when I was commish. It was a best of 5 Hammer versus Sword conference. So all the All Stars from Hammer were on one team, all the ones from Sword were on the other team. And then they fought in a best of 5, and I think that determined who got home. No, that didn't do that. We didn't do that. Never mind. I was gonna say I thought we might have used that to determine who had home team advantage in the championship, but that wasn't sure. We used seeding for that.
Gotcha.
But this year, I think that they're doing it. I don't think they did it by conference this year, or division rather. I think it was just all one big pool. So how I would do it personally is like how the NHL used to do it with. I think they might still do it this way. I can't remember off the top of my head because I don't watch the
National Horse League.
But they draft teams.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's like the top two All-Stars in that league by vote, I believe, are captains, and then they kind of draft players in a snake draft, and then the teams play.
Do we have to use snakes?
I mean, why not?
Did you just call me a hobo, Magikarp?
He did.
You did. You know
Personal
what?
Tax band.
It's Sunday. I don't have to do a dang thing. I don't care, honestly. I'll shave later on today, probably.
Yeah, Rage was mentioning in the chat. You remember the best of 5, and that it took too long. I don't know. It could be either one.
We'll do a best of something or other.
I think that was also Halo 4 where games were on average longer.
What's nuts? Rhino's here. Going on, Rhino? Sorry, I missed like half the chat because I was on the wrong window and it's early and I'm running out of coffee slowly but surely.
We're professionals, clearly.
Right? We are professionals. Yes, we are.
So touching back on playoffs, which are again later this week, who do you guys have? Who do you guys have for this playoff? These playoff championships?
Well,
as the 2 pro players of the 3 here.
I'm honestly going to throw. I'm looking at hybrid theory on this one because of the fact that is. I mean, it's made up of several of the world champion players are on that team. So I honestly have faith that they can be able to pull this off. However, that being said, Vital Signs has been pretty epic in some of their wins.
Yep.
So I think we're going to walk into. I think we're going to walk into championships seeing hybrid theory versus Vital Signs.
So DJ is going all underdogs.
Of course. What else would I do?
I feel like personally, I would expect probably Next Dimension Impulse is the game that everybody expects in the championship, but that's what I see being most likely to happen. But any of the 4 teams can be competitive. Hybrid Theory has a lot of great players. Hybrid Theory has a lot of great players, but how are people describing it? They're saying that Sauce was too busy trying to become a Rocket League pro. Something along those lines. Like it's basically the point is that they're Hybrid Theory. They have a lot of great talent, but they have a lot of that talent. Like it was great talent from Halo 4 that hasn't necessarily transferred to Halo 5 yet because they haven't played it enough. So they're the sort of team where they can definitely beat any other team, I think, once they actually put their noses down and learn the game. But when you compare it to like Next Dimension Hybrid Theory, who are filled with players who have been playing in custom since Halo 5 Grifball came out and who have been consistently putting in work and proving themselves, you kind of have to default to the team that's known. So it wouldn't surprise me to see Hybrid Theory pull off an upset over Next Dimension, but it would be an upset, I think. They have the talent to do it, it hasn't been fully realized in Halo 5 yet. And
they're starting to get it together, I think.
Next Dimension has been ridiculous this season. They had the best record in the league. I mean, I want to say it was 15-3. I'm sorry, no, it was 16-2. And then Impulse over on the other side, I think that's going.
Did they really?
I don't really see. Yeah, Next Dimension was the best record in the league. They passed Impulse at the very end of the season because Impulse had 2 upset losses in the final week of the season, and that's what could end up giving Vital Signs a chance, is if that momentum from those losses carries over. Because sometimes, but at the same time, I think it's good to kind of get those losses out of the way at the end of the season. And also in a best of 3, it's a lot harder for stuff like that to really affect you. Like one bad game doesn't matter because you've got 2 more games after that. If you lose, you just kind of buckle down and do your best to turn that series back around and get the comeback off. So Impulse ended up being 15-3. So they were the number ranked season team in the community power rankings every single week this season. I don't know if that changed at all for the last week. I haven't seen those come out yet. But aside from those 2 upset losses, they have been consistently dominant this season, and it basically comes down to whether or not they can bounce back from that or not. I think if they bounce back from those losses and are able to win that series against Vital Signs, then they probably have a very good chance at winning the ship, because they just kind of know that they're back, so to speak. They kind of have their swagger back, I guess you could say, and that will probably help them
game changer
with momentum rolling into the Next Dimension.
The losses they had, I believe, were because Galvanator wasn't playing.
Maybe.
Pretty sure that's what's going on.
Maybe. I don't remember. Yeah, he might not have been there. I don't remember.
Interesting. Well, we will see. Honestly, I have not been. I cast the games. I don't pay attention to stats. It's not my job.
Yep. Asked me the next day who played the games. I'm just like, I don't remember.
Players? Listen, I have to keep track of who's what.
Which team was it?
Aftershock
versus
somebody.
This is why I really want to see a actual proper stat system made and be implemented, because we have not had one since
Halo 4,
basically.
Yeah,
there was one. Yeah, Cal had his in Halo 4, but it was kind of separate from the hub, and that site is actually dead now. Like it expired, the domain expired, so we don't even have access to those anymore, which is sad because that was like our only historical archive of all those. Although I think Wayback might work on it. I have to look into that.
Which would be interesting. I mean, we we saw a significant change in our numbers during the off season between the launch of Halo 5, when we all decided to break our MCC discs because we hated it, and when Grifball actually came out, which was forever and ever and ever, and then they broke it again, and now it's back. So I think that as we get everything squared back away and get ourselves back up and running with full steam, that we're going to see those numbers rise back up again. And I think GGL is going to be the next great experiment with getting the numbers, because it's not a bid league. It's not a super competitive, crazy try-hard. It is grab your friends, let's play Grifball, and here you go.
Yeah. Now, see, I've always felt like it actually works the other way with signups, because with AGLA, you can sign up as an individual. And that's always been a hurdle for new teams. Like, if you have a player who finds the hub and wants to join on a team but doesn't have like a group of friends already, you see a lot of players like that, especially in the old school classic AGLA. I saw this a lot with when I was a rookie. Like, there was plenty of other players who were in the same position I was, who was like, somebody pick me up, I want to find a team. And they don't always kind of go out and look for teams that are looking for players. They just kind of post and assume that they're good enough for somebody to pick them up, and that's not true.
Yeah.
Because you don't really realize what the skill gap was. I was probably one of the few who had an easy time with it, because I ended up getting picked up by Zero Logic. Like, they just happened to be rebuilding at the time. So that was just kind of really fortunate timing, but it's a very hard thing. It's a very hard thing if you're an individual player to get into a team-based league, because a lot of players just kind of overestimate their own skill. They don't realize what the skill gap is between them and pro players, and they're just like, I'll just post as a free agent and sure someone will pick me up. No, that doesn't work that way. You have to actually go out and contact people who are looking for teams. So that's why when if you have new players asking for advice, usually I'll just say, don't post in the free agents thread. You can do that, but you don't expect to get any answers. Instead, go to the looking for players thread and message the teams that post in there.
Yeah, and that's really where it needs to happen. And that and getting involved in the hub. I mean, if you go to GrifballHub.com and you sign up, there are plenty of opportunities for you to get to know people. There's a chat that you can throw in there and say, hey, listen, I'm looking to play. I'm looking to get to know some people, I want to get into some league games, because there is a huge skill difference between what happens in matchmaking and what happens in league, and it's pretty violent, to be honest, which is cool. But it also means that you've got to step your game up and understand that you're not going to walk in and just beat everybody's ass. You're going to have to focus and buckle down and understand. Guess what? There's things that you're going to have to learn. This is not normal. This is not what you think it's going to be. This is going to be a heck of a lot harder, which is kind of funny to watch when people get that first shock of, oh my God, what's happening in this game? Well, I told you. So that being said, let's talk a little bit about GGL, which is going to be coming up after once we're done with AMI Championships, right? For the signups happening before then.
I don't think there has not been a set date that I know of yet, but most likely we're looking mid to late September. That would be my estimate. Around towards the end of September. That's what I've been telling people who've asking, that's probably the most likely time to look for it to start ramping up into GGL.
Yeah. Which, of course, is right before Rage, and I will be attending TwitchCon on behalf of the Grifball Hub, which will be a lot of fun. Yay! Rage, say something in the chat.
I expected more follow-up to that.
Yeah, really, there's not a whole lot else other than that. We're just going to be going down there to TwitchCon, which was I went down there with games last year, and then was invited back this year to the hub. So, but Rage and I are actually going to be going also to PAX, which is happening in less than 2 weeks.
J-Bar, shut up.
Where is J-Bar?
He's in the chat. Grifball's out for Harambe. There's a name for this podcast, Oogy.
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe not.
That's awesome. Welcome to the show, J-Bar. We miss you, you freak. I just say that to eventually, hopefully, anger him enough that he will finally get in and play Grifball again.
Dude, he's
retired.
He got another Halo 3 ship. What else does he need?
Well, I don't know, a Halo 5 ship? Something you see?
Bruh.
I mean...
Halo 3 ships are the only ones that matter.
Please. You couldn't even sprint in Halo 3.
Yeah,
Ghetto.
Exactly.
Ghetto.
It's difficult.
Ghetto.
The sword was useful.
Well, that's true. Very true. Rage.
So after TwitchCon, you guys have PAX West, which I keep calling PAX Prime because I did not realize it was changed to PAX West until like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, no, everybody's still calling it PAX Prime because it really is PAX Prime, but they've changed it to PAX West. So we're going to be doing PAX West in a week starting. We'll be up there from the 31st till I'll be up there from the 31st till the 7th, and then and then we're leaving 29th through the 2nd for TwitchCon. So all sorts of fun stuff.
Ta-da!
There needs to be more conventions here in the center.
We should in where?
In the center of the United States. I'm surprised. I'm actually surprised that there isn't more in Chicago.
I'm not. People don't want to get shot.
It's not that bad.
Oh, really?
It's just if you're in certain neighborhoods, yeah. But the more like the downtown area and whatnot, like towards the Loop and whatnot. Though those areas are that's where you have kind of more like those are the areas that are more police. That doesn't really happen there.
All right, I'm tweeting in Half-Breed.
Rage, shut your face. That's not true.
I'm
gonna be honest. I don't know how you can say that the West Coast has better pizza than anywhere.
Chicago deep dish, baby, is the real pizza right there.
The only pizza that
deep
I will
dish
take,
like I'm talking the thick, just like it's this thick. It's just oh god, it's good stuff, man. Good stuff.
No, it's. I mean, again, obviously, I've lived here in Chicago for most of my life, near Chicago now, but. Rage, you said Chicago has inferior pizza, and then West Coast greater. The way that was worded made it sound like you were saying West Coast had better pizza, which is definitely not true. No, DJ likes it thick.
But what? Well played, sir. And thick, deep dish, thick crust. You get it.
No, the only pizza that I will take over good Chicago deep dish, emphasis being good Chicago deep dish. If it's not properly made, then no, thank you. But is kind of the classic sort of Italian style, like a sort of Naples style pizza, where it's thin and where it's sort of thin, somewhat crispy, fresh mozzarella.
All right, we're talking about food now, so
okay,
I mean,
gotcha.
We need to move on.
Now I'm hungry. So let's talk about other things. Let's talk about a couple other things that have been going on in the wonderful world of gaming, where that have taken us outside of a little bit of Grifball, which seems to have locked in so many of our players. And that is this ridiculous obsession with Pokemon Go.
It slowed down quite a lot.
It did slow down for a minute, and then
it's still slowing down.
The kids down the street found out that my front yard is a Pokestop.
Oh God.
So there is this constant trail of kids constantly standing in front of the house. The Great Dane goes crazy. And now, Kevin, my housemate, who owns the house, is playing it. And he caught some giant tortoise thing in the backyard.
Squirtle?
Giant tortoise thing.
No, not tortoise. Like Taurus, like a bull.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Tauros.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways,
No, it is very much declined since it came out because Niantic does not know how to properly communicate with people.
Well, I did find out, speaking of communicating with people, I communicated last night with people and discovered that I am reasonably terrible at Rocket League.
You just found this out?
I just found this out. I just kept flipping my car over. I kept ending up on the ceiling. Somehow I'd constantly end up on the ceiling. Or driving around a wall, and I want to get down off the wall, and it wouldn't let me. It was bizarre. I don't like.
I feel like Rocket League is the type of game that I could be good at. I just don't have time to play it.
DJ gives you wings.
So much of it is kind of anticipating where the ball is going to land, like especially for aerial sort of attacks. So I'm very good at kind of predicting patterns like that. That's why I'm good at stuff like Halo 5 with slide tanking, because I'm good at predicting where my movement will go, and it was the same with dash and reach.
All right, well then I'm going to ask you a question because I do not understand something. What are these eggs and diamonds and jewels and things that I keep getting?
What? For Rocket League? Or for Pokemon
no, I'm
Go?
talking about. Yes.
Okay, that subject changed fast. All right. So
sorry, but getting the car to go where I needed to go. It is bizarre, and I just need more practice. I think because otherwise I'm just not on ball with it. But I've got things back to Pokemon. Sorry, just because I don't know what these are. How do I get to my items? Nope, that's not what I want.
I mean, for what it's worth, if you think that Pokemon Go is representative of the main Pokemon games, that's not true. It's very different. It's basically just a reskinned version of Niantic's current game Ingress with a couple.
I never played that either.
A couple alterations. I haven't either, but I've seen enough of it to know that this is basically a reskin of that. Basically, all that happened is Pokemon sold or allowed them to use the licensing for it, and they get like a third of the revenue from it.
Yep.
Okay, what
is Ingress with Pokemon?
That's what I want to know. What are the eggs for?
Eggs can be hatched to get Pokemon. Generally, there's certain Pokemon that are region locked. Like Tauros can only be found here in North America. There's a couple that's I think Farfetch'd is only in Asia, and there's one for each major kind of continent of sorts. You can still get those from eggs. And also stuff
what about
that's
potions and revives?
What's that? Potions?
Yeah.
Potions are if you battle through gyms or whenever actual trainer battling ends up being implemented in the main game, you use that to heal them back to full health. And then the revives, if they faint in battle, you use that to revive them, and then you can use the potions to heal them the rest of the way.
Gotcha. And how do you find their footprints?
You don't. That's why people are mad.
You don't. Because it says that there's someone in the area, but you just have to wander around until.
That's why people are mad. This is why interest has waned. Basically, what happened was the tracker was when it first launched out. The tracker was actually very well implemented. It was 3 footsteps, I think, was 300 meters. If it was 2 footsteps, it was within 200 meters. 1 was within 100 meters, and then 0 meant you were on top of it. So you could use that as you moved around to kind of narrow down where they were going to be. But all the server calls that it was making for footsteps, for some reason, because apparently they had a vastly inefficient algorithm for this, was it was just causing massive it was just causing a massive hit on their servers. So they put it so they kind of made it so that the footprints were always 3 steps until they could fix it. Did not fix it, so instead they just took the footprints out because people kept complaining about it. And now we just have this where it's just sightings, which I think at this point is basically just anything that's been seen within a certain radius of you, which is basically useless, unless you like just wandering around in circles. The best way I've heard it described is that it's just a list of stuff that that's near you, but you're never going to see.
That makes more sense now. Now I understand why it drives me crazy.
Yeah, so that's why people are mad at Niantic, was that whole thing. And then also at the same time, they put out a cease and desist against third-party trackers that basically fixed what they broke and made it into a tracker, what the tracker should have been in the first place.
Huh. Interesting.
So yeah.
Very, very interesting.
That's where all the anger is coming from.
Gotcha. Speaking of things that are angry, no, that's not what I was going to say, actually. You know what I would really love? I would really love for Goose and Cal to come back and help us with this because I miss them. Yeah, that's basically all I have to say about that. So, do we have anything else we want to cover?
I don't know, do we?
We're 40 minutes, and we've had about 20 minutes worth of actual...
I think that's a little generous.
Grifball content. And I've yanked this off topic about 6 times now, which is wonderful. I'm really good at it. But now I have no more coffee. I want more. So if we're done covering everything about Grifball, I think it's a good idea to say, you know what, we'll be back tomorrow for the All-Star Game coverage. I will have shaved by then, and I will be wearing my contacts, and I will be back to normal and full power. Otherwise,
yeah. DJ's hibernating.
All right. Good podcast, boys.
Okay, woo! All right, we're done.
We did
Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Love, peace, and chicken grease.
Thank you for listening to the Grifball Hubcast. Be sure to follow us on Twitter @GrifballHub for all the latest in Grifball news and entertainment.